Is the Eruptor as good as everybody says, or is Eruptor kind of overhyped? Ever since weapon customization came out, the weapon definitely feels better. It has been reworked once again because it's been reworked so many times, right? But now they also buffed it where the fire rate feels better, and essentially the weapon has overall become way better than what it used to be. But it seems like everybody's forgotten what was the true king of explosive weapons before the weapon customization dropped, and that was the one and only crossbow. It just felt better overall compared to the Eruptor. But guys, that was before the update, and I was like, you know what, let me test both of these weapons next to each other and figure out which one is really better at the moment against all factions, by the way. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump in and we're gonna see how these weapons perform against some of the more important enemies within the game, such as the Charger, the Flashmob, even the Harvester. We're going to take a look at the Hulk as well. And we're going to figure out and we're going to try to pinpoint why and which weapon is actually better than the other. Because there's definitely some similarities between these two. However, there's also differences. And depending on your playstyle, you might think, you know what, this one's better or that one's better. And that's essentially what I want to hear your thoughts on in the comment section below. First, let's quickly take a look at the stats. The crossbow is sitting at 620 damage. Capacity is at 5. Recoil 26 and fire rate is at 50. It is medium armor penetrating, explosive, and one-handed. Meanwhile, the Eruptor is sitting at 455 damage. Capacity is the same, which is at 5. Recoil 72 and fire rate is 32. Now, when it comes to the weapon traits, it's heavy armor penetrating and it's also explosive. Now, one thing I want to get out of the way is that both of these weapons perform really well when it comes to closing down bug holes, destroying the ships on the Illuminate side. They are very, very versatile, and there's not a lot of weapons in the game that can do that. Like the grenade pistol is one of those weapons, but apart from that, these two are the primary weapons that are powerful and can close down the bug holes as well. And at the end of the day, that does make a big difference. On top of that, both of these weapons are incredibly strong against all factions. Okay, let's get on with the stunts here. So we're gonna test out the Charger damage with the crossbow once again, since the changes and whatnot. Overall with the weapon customization, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. As usual, 4 shots. Sometimes it can be 3 if the Charger is damaged and you probably never noticed, you ran into something, explosion happened, whatever. Usually it's gonna be 4 shots to the tail. Now keep in mind the fire rate on this weapon is pretty decent, right? Now, when it comes to clunkiness, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I feel like both of these weapons are pretty clunky, and the crossbow or the Eruptor, none of them are like one of these, you know, super light feeling weapons that, you know, have incredible ergonomics. So one more thing that you can do with the Chargers is you can actually damage them from the front as long as you're hitting that back leg, right? So for example, if you hit around this area, you will see that the tail still gets damaged. Now, this is not as effective as if you were to shoot that tail directly when you're behind them. But the fact that you can do this, look at that, boom. Now, this Charger was a little bit damaged, but usually it doesn't take like crazy amount of shots. As long as you're landing your shots on that back leg, you are going to be killing the Chargers. And this is true both for the crossbow and the Eruptor. So that is something to keep in mind. I just wanted to throw this in there as a quick tip. Now, when it comes to the Hulks, all you can really do, get behind them and go for their weak spot. And as long as you're doing that, you're pretty much destroying these guys. 2 shots and then they burn out with the crossbow. Let's take a look at the fleshmob. It's 1 shot over there. We're getting ragdolled by other enemies. I don't know if I'm going to make it out of here alive. What is that? 4, 5, 6, 5 or 6 direct shots to the flesh mobs there. He might have taken some damage from the car. Usually it's around 6 to 7 shots when it comes to the crossbow. 1, 2. We're gonna go for the 3rd shot here in a second. I'm gonna try to break his ankles. 3 shots. Usually it's 3 shots, guys. Sometimes it can be 2. If the chargers, a little bit damaged, some stuff happens. You guys already know the bug hitboxes are pretty crazy in this game, and they can be very, very inconsistent. But usually it's going to be 3 shots to the tail. Now with the Hulks, this is where the Eruptor does have a huge advantage because you can take him out from the front just by hitting the eye with the 2 shots. And when it comes to the weak spot on the back, it's the same, just 2 shots to the weak spot and the Hulk is going to be done. Yeah, the harvesters get absolutely deleted by the one and only. And the stagger on this gun, on the harvesters, is absolutely insane, by the way. On a enemy like the harvester, that's actually kind of wild. You can literally like cancel out his shots. You know what I mean? Look at that, dude. You're just bouncing him around. Yeah, when it comes to the harvesters, the Eruptor is just superior. It's just so much better. It gets the job done much easier. It's also the same when it comes to the ships as well. Like with the crossbow, you need more shots. With this one, you only need 2, and then you can just destroy it. Now that you guys saw how they perform against said enemies, let's talk about some of the differences, and after my testing, which one I think is overall better. So first thing is ammo economy. I'm gonna be honest, both of these are pretty okay with ammo economy. I don't think they have very good ammo economy. I don't think they have horrible ammo economy. Obviously, if you're running supply backpack, none of that matters. But if you were to pick up these weapons without the supply backpack, you're not going to be struggling a lot with ammo. And that is obviously if you are landing your shots. Clears for both of these weapons are pretty good. So that's why the ammo economy isn't that bad, because you're taking 1 shot and essentially you're killing a bunch of enemies. So yeah, the ammo economy is okay on both of these weapons. I don't think it's going to be one of those things where you're not going to use these guns because of ammo economy being horrible. Now, when it comes to the damage, it really depends, guys. So if we're talking about at clear, which is, let's say, the smaller bugs or the smaller bots, illuminate zombies, they do a great job. Both of them do not fall off. They're excellent. You're going to be taking out hordes of enemies as long as you keep the right distance without any problems. And that's on maximum difficulty. When it comes to medium enemies, it is pretty much very, very close. I still think that the Eruptor is a little bit better because the one-shots are way more consistent compared to the crossbow, but they both do a phenomenal job against mid-armored enemies as well. Now, this is where it gets interesting. When you move higher, though, especially against the Illuminates, for example, I think that Eruptor is a clear winner. Now, when we talk about the harvesters, right, like the stagger is insane and you need way less shots. And that's where I think that the Eruptor is much better compared to the crossbow when it comes to the Illuminates. Harvesters are easier to kill. And on top of that, the flash mobs are also gonna go down faster. Now, if your argument is, but Pip, the crossbow might need 1 or 2 extra shots, but it does have more fire rate. You see, the thing is, on maximum difficulty, when there's zombies everywhere and whatnot, you're not going to really be spamming these weapons. Like, these weapons are not those weapons that you're going to be utilizing that fire rate all the time. You're also, and also they're a little bit clunky. Both of them, the ergonomics aren't like S tier, right? Don't get me wrong. Once again, Eruptor ergonomics feels 10 times better now, and that's what makes it so much better overall compared to what it was, but they still are clunky. So you kind of need to line up your shots. It's not like some of the other weapons. So also take that into account when you're talking about, for example, the fire rate, because while crossbow does have more fire rate, you're not going to be using it as a machine gun, okay? So that's where I think that the Eruptor, when it comes to Illuminates, just does better. It really does. Now, when it comes to the bugs, obviously, both of them close down bug holes. As you guys saw, they're very effective against chargers, no matter which angle you're taking them out from. Is it like the tail, from the front? As long as you're landing those shots, you're going to be taking them out pretty efficiently. I think when it comes to the charger, I'm going to be honest, they feel very, very similar. Yes, sometimes the Eruptor is going to need less shots, but overall, it's not like a huge difference where you're going to be like, you know what? I'm going to use the Eruptor because it's so much better than the crossbow when it comes to chargers. However, overall, I think that the Eruptor wins here as well. Now, the reason I say that, when it comes to destroying mushrooms, when it comes to taking out spewers, when it comes to absolutely annihilating medium armored bugs and commanders, yeah, that's where the Eruptor just feels better than the crossbow. On top of that, if you're going against a Bile Titan, while once again, they're not the best tools against Bile Titans, if you have a Bile Titan that is damaged and are trying to take him out with one of these primaries, Eruptor still feels more consistent. As long as you're going for that underbelly to tail area, you are going to be melting them pretty quickly. You can actually make that tail absolutely disappear in front of you, as long as, once again, you're going to be landing the shots, which is not easy when it comes to the Bile Titan, because once again, the hitboxes on the bugs are pretty crazy. So yeah, when it comes to the bugs, I feel like the Eruptor feels way more consistent. The damage is very nice. The clear single target, it just feels good, man. That said, the crossbow has its advantages, right? Like, for example, it's one-handed, and if you're doing those missions where you gotta carry stuff, it does come in handy. You're just going to be running around and destroying things. You cannot do that with the Eruptor. But is that something that will overweigh all the other benefits that the Eruptor has compared to the crossbow? For me personally, not really. I feel like that's not something that I'm going to be utilizing most of the time when I'm playing on max difficulty. So I'm not going to take that as, you know what, this alone is going to make me pick crossbow. That's not the case for me. I would love to hear your thoughts. Now, when it comes to the bots, I think this is where they're a little bit closer compared to the other factions. However, still, I believe that the Eruptor ended up being my favorite. And guys, I gave the crossbow a good chance. I tried it out against different enemies, different scenarios, different amounts of enemies, whatever it was, all of it. But I still ended up every single time enjoying Eruptor more. And for me personally at the moment, it's my favorite weapon. So overall, if I was to rate these weapons from 0 to 10, I would give Eruptor a 9. I'm not going to give it a 10 because I still think that the ergonomics isn't perfect. Ammo economy isn't the greatest, and it's clunky and it's slow. You know what I mean? Like the reload when you're swapping, especially the weapons, just doesn't feel super good. On its own, I would give it a 9 out of 10. When it comes to clears, damage, it's a great weapon. When it comes to the crossbow, I would give it an 8. I still think it's very, very good. I think that if you're running it on max difficulty, you're going to do absolutely fine. But if you're trying to min-max on max difficulty, yeah, it's going to be Eruptor. Anyway, that is it for this video. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below. As always, stay positive, stay disciplined, and I'll see you all on the next one.